Are we living in a simulation?
Welcome to the 4th episode of GuacnChippies!
Chippies!
And Jocelyn just posed a very interesting question.
Remember that one time, brother, when we used to do like caterings and for some reason every weekend it was in the same area, and then they also were like similar celebrations. For example, for like a whole weekend we were just attending to weddings, and then for another weekend we were like all in the city of Pasadena, and then the following weekend we were all like in the IE area. So to me it just felt like it was already planned. It wasn't like really spontaneous. Like, I don't know if it has to do with like human patterns or just a coincidence.
Definitely don't think that is enough proof of a simulation. It just goes to show how similar humans think. There's a time during the year where people are more likely to get married. The only thing that is a little weird is areas. Sometimes I feel like there's a specific area that hires us a lot, and they're not even mutually related to one another. But, you know, when we get double booked, like it just feels a little weird that, you know, we get booked in Glendale and then for a lunch service, and then we have a dinner service in Burbank. Like, they're right next to each other, right? And it's actually makes our life a lot easier. But I definitely feel like there's a lot of moments where it just feels like life definitely has a creator, just because things just work out so perfectly. It's like a domino effect.
In that case, don't you think that you can tie religion with the existence of a simulation? Because technically a simulation is run by a higher power or somebody who's running it. So the higher power in this case in religion can be God, and he oversees the simulation.
Yeah, but like simulations kind of have a purpose.
So maybe if you believe in Christianity, the purpose of the simulation is to be able to live here, have the right of choice, and eventually if you die, you end up going to heaven, so you end up leaving the simulation.
No, I think you can make the bridge and use both of them as a comparison, but I think religion and a simulation is entirely different. Because if you're in a simulation, you don't exist. Like, you're not even a thought. Like, you're part of a software. Well, the simulation, there's no end to it. So, but if you, let's say you're a character, when you die as a character, what happens then?
That's why when you die, maybe you're here to fulfill a certain mission, and then you're here till Judgment Day.
I'm talking about in the simulation. That's not religion. If you die, what happens to you?
We don't know. To be okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like it does. So essentially, you don't exist.
No, wait. If it's
as a
video
human,
game, you come back alive. But if the video game doesn't allow you to come back alive, then you go into the database.
If you play a video game, you keep dying and then you can come back. But eventually, you reach the end. And when you reach the end, there's nothing else.
But that's
unless there's like a software update and you go on to the next thing. Right, but essentially you don't exist. Like, but somebody is controlling you.
Yeah, that's on the video game world.
No, because religion is like you have free will. You can do whatever you want. You have the choice to do X, Y, Z, to accept faith, and then when you pass away, there's an afterlife.
Yeah. So then, what happens when they say that your faith is already destined?
Yeah.
So if it's already destined and certain things are supposed to happen, and they're going to happen, then doesn't that kind of seem like you're programmed a specific way for these things to happen?
Yeah, but still, like, after you pass away and Judgment Day comes, and with religion, something happens to your soul after. So you can't really it's not really complete. It's a comparison, but it's not the same thing, in my opinion. Because this is just like a conspiracy theory, but it makes sense tremendously. Like, it's almost impossible for us not to be in a simulation.
Yeah, Elon Musk believes that we are more likely in a simulation because there's been so many civilizations before us, and it doesn't make sense that they haven't thought or created a system that's more advanced than what we can comprehend.
Imagine they're watching us right now.
If you look at the progression of video games, before we went from like Tetris balls bouncing back and forth to like what Grand Theft Auto is right now, you can see like a full city. It's like super HD. And eventually when we move into VR, like, there will come a point where technology will be so advanced that your virtual reality will be indistinguishable from reality.
A philosopher from the University of Oxford said, he wrote a paper in 2003 where it's called "Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?" And the theory is we are likely living in an extremely powerful computer program directed by an entity outside of our physical comprehension.
Whatever the simulation is for, as soon as it's fulfilled, like that's it. There's nothing there. Like it's just a repetitive circle. So like basically you don't exist.
If we did live in a simulation, do you think it would matter? Like would it make your life different? Would you change anything?
You don't know.
I know, but like if you knew. Like,
when you're in a simulation, you have no conscience. That is what separates reality from simulation.
whether you would have a conscious experience within a simulation is a highly debated philosophical question with no definite answer. So we don't know for sure because everything is hypothetical if you would have a conscience or not. You keep saying we don't, so that's what you believe. We don't have a conscience.
No, like
I feel like you would
this
have
is
a
a
conscience.
common fact. Like the argument when it comes to simulation is, at what point do you stop having a conscience?
Have you guys seen our neighbors bring down groceries before?
No.
I've seen one of them once. I haven't seen the fruit people.
This is a thought that I put onto Lilo. Proof that we're in a simulation is the fact that you never see your neighbors bring down their groceries. And as soon as you hear that, it always trips you out because like you really never do see your neighbors.
I see some of them at the grocery store.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like we see,
but I never
we've
see
seen
them
at
buy
grocery-
anything.
Yeah.
Okay, this question is for our audience, so make sure you comment down below. If we live in a simulation, who's running it? A divine creator. B, advanced aliens. C, future humans. D, AI. Or E, no one. It's just a random program.
So there's this game called Fold It, where players take on the role of a researcher, and players manipulate 3D protein models by twisting, bending, and fitting them together to achieve the most stable configuration. Gamers were able to successfully solve protein folding puzzles, and it has contributed to potential treatments for diseases. And that's what I think the purpose of a simulation is. Many of them are happening at the same time, and they have a purpose, right? There's a big problem, and they're analyzing and they're seeing how humans are responding to a variety of different variables to come up with the best possible solution to a big problem that they have in the future. And so if we are part of a simulation, I definitely think that that is the reason for it. And I always thought it's more fascinating to talk about what the reason is for us being in a simulation as opposed to figuring out whether or not we're in a simulation. Because if you are in a simulation and you start, that actually kind of brings terror into your life. Like it's like, oh damn, that means I don't exist. Isn't that crazy? So what's the purpose of doing anything?
You know which profession or field is good at creating simulations?
Yeah, pilots, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
aviation. There was this article that I bumped into and that talked about how one of the first simulations was because of aircrafts or like flying planes and for military or just like regular purposes. My sister sent me this video that talks about Cognify and is essentially a prison rehabilitation concept that uses AI to implant memories into prisoners to help them feel remorse and regret. So instead of you doing a full sentence at a prison, they would implant and use AI to create certain memories depending on how severe your crime was, and that would hopefully encourage you not to do the crime anymore. Something that they're trying to put into effect now, making it more of a reality. I guess they've been studying it.
Don't the prisoners have an option to either serve time or to do that to their brain?
I mean, they would give you the opportunity to decide whether you want to go through AI or actually be in prison for the amount of years that you're sentenced. But the problem becomes it's kind of, in a way, being forced.
Yeah,
So,
like you're allowing them to program you.
To
essentially.
program you. So they're
And what if
putting-
like kind of like going into the military, like, you have PTSD, and there's certain triggers that you get when you start having specific thoughts. It's kind of scary.
So it's actually true?
Yeah. It's
It's
traditional.
fascinating.
One of the benefits of cognifying is that it's going to reduce costs, like what you would spend for having the prisoners in prison. Faster reintegration, so sometimes a lot of prisoners, what they face is like they complete their sentence and then they have to go back into society, but since they haven't been part of society, they kind of have like face struggles of finding a job, and then they also have it in the record, so maybe like participating in this program will benefit them.
What if you're like tech savvy and you program people the way that you want them to?
This week, Mark Zuckerberg went viral on social media. Did you all see the video of where he is performing to his wife? It was her 40th birthday, and he basically did like a cover of Benson Boonson's Grammy performance, Beautiful Things, and he wears like the blue suit and everything.
TBH, those kinds of stuff are not my interest. I usually just scroll my TikTok to watch makeup. But I did see the blue guy in the suit, and I was like, oh, nice suit. It's glittery, and then scroll.
It didn't come up on my For You page
You
at
didn't
all.
see it at all? That's interesting. I actually enjoyed the performance at the Grammys, and so then I just saw like a clip, and I thought it was sweet. It shows Mark in a different light. Usually he has like a little bit of like bad rep because of the way he's been running Facebook and Meta.
Oh, it's that fool?
Yeah, he looks like a reptile. I don't know, he doesn't seem human.
So there's actually a conspiracy on that.
Just looks like a lizard the way his eyes move. Jocelyn showed me the video of Mark Zuckerberg, and as soon as I saw him in his suit, I thought it was cringe. I was like, can't imagine loving someone so much enough to put yourself through that.
I think it's cute because then if like she likes the song and she likes the performance or she was amazed by it, he paid attention. And you know, he's a billionaire. He could
It's a great song.
He could give her anything.
Give her a performance from the same guy.
Or like hire the guy to do the performance. He has that power. And he chose to do something that potentially is out of his comfort zone.
Honestly, I've been seeing him go viral because he was in court.
He's definitely faced a lot of lawsuits regarding the creation and ownership of Facebook and just the websites. Issues with users' privacies. That's something that has been big. During the COVID-19 situation, there was like a lot of one-sided information. The government told him, do not allow posts that say injecting the vaccine is bad for you or has these effects. So they blocked things like that. And so a lot of people have always given him a hard time because they say that he's not necessarily protecting the users. So he's obviously making money. Can you believe it's like around 3 billion or more people worldwide using his applications?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's crazy.
You really created something that's just groundbreaking.
Going back to the reptilian theory, it's essentially a theory that says shape-shifting reptilian aliens control Earth by tracking human form and gaining political power to manipulate human societies. The reptilian theory was popularized by David Icke, a conspiracy theorist. He wrote the book, The Biggest Secret That Will Change the World. And in that book, he talked about how politicians and certain people from the elite are the people who control our systems and our world. There's various debates that they either come from space, so they're aliens and they came here and they can shapeshift to humans by like either eating their blood or something like that. Or the other theory is they were on Earth, they discovered a way to go to space, and then they came back and they were able to transform. A lot of people have debated this theory because sometimes higher politicians, they speak like in a very, like when they're doing videos and press conferences, their eyes kind of glitch or their facial expressions are very like odd to look at.
Michael's odd to look at.
I think it's hilarious because Ismail, when we have done TikTok live streams and everything, there's certain people who actually have commented that he might be an NPC. Are you an NPC?
NPCs from
it's another
Karen.
thing, but yeah.
No, yeah, but from Karen's.
From Karen's, that's what you
because I was trying to play a role.
Oh, okay.
The Karen videos.
Yeah.
You still
I was
act
like,
the
hey,
same.
how's it going? And I would just answer her whatever order you were requesting.
Yeah.
So that's when I was we had NPC conversations because they were like kind of like weird. But to me, like, I don't know, all that seems like a stretch, the whole reptilian thing. But
yeah,
just Mark Zuckerberg, like the guy, he himself is very odd.
Well, I mean, look
For
at
politicians,
the way his eyes and stuff.
Yeah, for politicians it makes sense because they're trained individuals. They're kind of, they have people in the behind the scenes that are guiding them, and so it's easier for them to have a cover story as to why they they present themselves to the way they present themselves. But Mark Zuckerberg, to me, he just seems like he just doesn't seem like he's human.
Oh, wow.
Well, here's the thing. Essentially, the reason some people argue that it could be true is because Obama is distant cousins with the Bushes. And then Obama is also related to Gerald Ford, Lyndon B. Johnson, Harry Truman, James Madison, Winston Churchill. And then apparently Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are 19th cousins. So they're saying that runs like within the family. And in this book, David, he said that the British royalty family is also reptilians. So they are all like related, and that a lot of the alleged passings from JFK to Princess Diana had to do with these elites and them controlling.
Are we reptiles?
No. It's an interesting theory in the sense that, you know, if you look back to like genetics and like history, they kind of all connect. And I don't know if it's necessarily 100% true, but you know, recently with the whole UFOs, the drones, the aliens, I don't know what to believe anymore.
What makes you so sure that we're not reptiles from our culture? Because we have great-great-grandparents.
If you're a reptile, you would know.
Yeah, because you would shapeshift.
Like if you're a lizard, you would know you're a lizard. To me, the whole reptilian conspiracy theory seems a bit of a stretch, for sure.
One of the reasons that I'm usually skeptical about technology and social media is this idea that Facebook was never about social connection. So supposedly it was designed to collect data for intelligence and agencies like the government and use as a surveillance tool. That's like another conspiracy that people always bring when speaking about Mark and the platforms that he's made, because he has so much information. He's using it for ads, like to sell products and selling it to companies. He may be concealing and he doesn't necessarily tell us because he just knows a lot. So one of those things can be the reason why he's building a bunker. Maybe he knows of something that's going to happen in AI, or maybe a virus or a war, and he's protecting his family or the people who are in his social circle, so that eventually whenever the situation does happen, he's prepared. So one of the theories was that he bought land in Hawaii, and apparently he has his own like water system. Maybe he knows information that is not yet ready, available for us. And I mean, what is he preparing? Is he just doing the bunker? He says it's just like a basement.
Well, the Bible does say people that are rich are gonna be building bunkers and hiding in their bunkers.
I thought you said bitches. Like the Bible said, bitches are gonna be. No, but
wasn't funny to me.
Yeah, no, it wasn't funny. That's what I was like, what the? But you said riches. Again, like I'm just an optimist. I don't think it's that deep. I think.
So then why is he building the bunker? What's the point of it?
Well.
And how about if he's making like a whole civilization down there? And maybe like with the whole egg harvesting and cloning and human creation or AI, they're already making a new civilization there, and that could exist without having us, because essentially they could go into hiding and we could be left out here in the world, and they could still conduct whatever business they're doing from the comfort of a bunker. Los fregados vamos a ser nosotros.
Like the small attention that we have on social media, how does it make you feel?
I mean, I don't really care.
Yeah, important, because there's people who are consuming the content and they care about whatever I have to say.
Yeah, but do you realize that? Okay, so would you feel comfortable with recording your everyday, like live streaming 24/7, 365, exactly where you at and what you're doing? Like you would show your surroundings and you'd be like, hey, I'm at In-N-Out here in West Covina, hypothetically speaking. Well, the point I'm trying to make is once you reach a certain level of fame, you become a target to a certain degree. And oftentimes it cannot be malicious, but there's still going to be people who are going to annoy them. So for example, it's happening at a very, very small scale, right? In the form of the comment section. But if people knew where you live, and there's a lot of our viewers that do, it becomes a safety issue. If you have access to billions and billions of dollars, like obviously you're gonna go to the outskirts. And so like as time has passed and we continue to like progress, we have access to more money, then you have access to more information. You're like, oh snap, our diets are very, very poor. Oh snap, our local vendors here, they don't offer anything that's healthy. So what do? You go to Erewhon, you go to Whole Foods to buy organic foods, right? So the more money you get, you can improve your overall lifestyle and the well-being of your family. So oftentimes that comes in the form of being able to prepare for these natural disasters and stuff.
Then how do you explain the reason that they're also buying land in New Zealand? Because they say New Zealand was one of the safest places to be in case, like, if there was a war or something happening.
Yeah, I mean, you're using it as
they're buying that, and then they're buying obviously certain areas in the United States, but Hawaii is a good place because people can't really access the island either. Like, you have to go out of your way to book a flight or go through some form of boat.
Yeah, I mean, it's the safest place. You know, he's a public figure, right? It makes sense that he would do that. But with billionaires, what they would do essentially is, wouldn't you control what you put into your body? So you would buy land with the purpose of growing your own foods and having access to. Yeah, he grows his own
food. Ellen DeGeneres does the same thing.
Exactly.
She grows her own.
So you control
what
you
buy from the stores.
You control what you ingest, and on top of that, you can.
They know something that we don't.
No, it's just like. It's just a natural progression when you move up in the ladder. You don't rely on civilization to be able to function, right? And that's the whole point of you being a billionaire, is like you are able to do these things, right? So, like, it makes sense that they're doing that.
Would you guys...
Like, we can't do that because we can't afford it.
But if you guys become billionaires, would you guys do what are they called? Bunkers? Yeah. Would you guys do them? Would you guys do one or multiple?
I don't see the point of it.
It depends, because I mean, if I have family, a wife and kids, I'd be inclined to be prepared.
But why would you want to live through something like that? I think that the worst part of it is surviving. Okay, so how do you feel about the glasses that he created, where you can capture video, but you can also download softwares that are external and put them in the glasses, and if I take a picture of you, I'm able to see all your information from where you went to school, who your parents are, who you are, kind of like, in a way, also stalking. He hasn't allowed it on the actual glasses, so if I was to buy the glasses and just use them, I won't be able to do that. But if I download an app specifically for that, I'll be able to do it. So wouldn't that also relate to the transition of, like, virtual reality, whenever you wear those goggles and you're able to see all the information of everybody? So is there, like, any more privacy? Is privacy gonna even be something that we're able to have?
Yeah, people
so why
don't
is
care.
It that he could have privacy, built his own system, and then everybody else
well, how do they know he has a bunker?
Because he has publicly spoken about it, and it's common knowledge that you can just look up to, not just him, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey. Allegedly, a lot of the fires that happened, the conspiracy is that the reason the wildfires that happened in Hawaii were because they were trying to acquire the land so that they could build their own system. So if they're building, let's say they were hypothetically building a bunker that is able to contain, like, a certain amount of society members of whoever they want to invite, and you can only get into the bunker because AI will allow you in, and then the systems that they have, you could live there, like, for years in case of these natural disasters. It would be useful for a lot of the top billionaires like Oprah and Jeff Bezos to have property there, because then they could just interconnect them and they will still be on top of the food chain. So that's, one of the other theories that was being thrown out around about allegedly the fires.
become valuable so that they desire whatever product or service you offer. Right? No one can make
So
tacos
they
to the
can-
same degree. As soon as they try it, the goal is for them to try our food so that they hold on to us. So whenever natural disasters happen, they'll make sure to include us in their travel plans.
You're gonna have
Michael
like this
is-
Mark's cows and farming stuff that he
Perfect.
grows.
I'll do it. This whole idea about privacy, like, I don't think anyone cares. And to give an example, I know, Lilo, you watched this movie of that agent. He worked, I think, for the CIA.
And he found out
How
that
they
they
were,
could watch everybody's
Yeah.
lives through social media and everything.
and then he ended up moving to Russia because he was founded
And
as
that was true,
treason.
huh?
Yeah, that was based on a true story. So essentially, the government has access to a Google search that the community doesn't. They just type your name and then all of your information comes out. What the government did, that was something that was, like, they had access to your cell phones, they had access to your cameras. They literally could get whatever information and manipulate you to whatever it is that they want from you. When that came to light, it was around Obama's administration. The guy, he was found as treason and he fled to Russia. They accepted him, obviously, because he was an amazing asset to the agency, right? But the point is,
They wanted to assassinate.
the public was aware of this, and what did they do?
They didn't care.
Well, they didn't have the power to do anything.
It's like these
we think
things-
we have the power, but I don't think we do. Like,
No, it's like everyone is caught up into their own
Yeah,
world and
they don't
what's
know.
going on,
Low-key,
and that they don't care for these things, and that's the whole point I'm trying to make. And the government openly admitted to all of this, and there was nothing that
well, what can you do?
exactly.
Are they gonna be like
No,
going
you-
on strike
they're-
and
yeah.
trying to bring the the person back
Yeah,
from
but
Russia?
the point is, it's not something that people care enough for. What do you guys think
Chippies.
TikTok, should she read about the reptilians?
Theories.
Does anyone believe in that? The
I don't really
reptilian?
know. Are they that woke? I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's a pretty common conspiracy theory.
Is it really? Did you ever read it?
The whole reptile thing?
Really?
Yeah. I've heard of that
I've
many,
heard
many,
about
many
shape
times.
shifting, like
I mean, like, if,
but
it's
not
kind of like,
reptiles
it's up there with Illuminati.
or like aliens.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised you haven't even talked about Illuminati.
I want
mean,
to. 'cause
it's kind of like, it's outplayed.
But here's the thing. I want to talk about it, but I want to be like very detailed.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys want to ask us questions, it is going to come up on our next episode of our podcast. So ask away. Ask anything. I'll pass you guys to my little sister. She is the one that would read out the questions.
User Antonio asked, "What is your favorite food to make?"
What do you think, Jocelyn? What is your favorite food?
My favorite food to make personally, chicken breast. I eat a lot of chicken breast. It's either between chicken breast and eggs.
I love making ribeye.
Yeah, ribeye is up there too.
Alright.
For me, just white rice.
Oh, jasmine with rice.
Jasmine white rice, some butter and some salt. That's it. And the reason for it is just, it's so quick and easy to make. And yeah, you can pair it with anything.
Han Yor asked, "Y'all smoked out or what?"
Nah, it was never my thing. I'm not big on it. What else?
I don't even.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Hello World 6795 asked us, "Are any of you dating?"
I guess if you take the literal definition of dating is like meeting people and going out with them, no, I'm not. Didn't you do that like last year with, like you took them out to like?
But we're talking about now. We're talking about last
now.
year.
Oh, we're talking about last year. Michael was dating last year.
No, I'm not. I'm just not. I'm just going to school and coming home. Cole Averes asked us, "How's y'all's Monday going?"
It was off to a rough start, but overall it's ending pretty well.
Yeah, I've been having trouble sleeping, but now that the night is among us, like, I feel better. I'm awake. What's up? What's the function? Where are we going?
It was kind of sad, depressing because I had to go to school, period. No, just kidding. No, I felt like a simulation. Honor Your asked, "What's the seasoning for your carne asada?"
A lot of love, passion.
Check out Fernando Spirit, now available for sale across all platforms.
Marinates your meats like a master taquero. If you haven't done so already, click the link in my bio and it'll redirect you to my link tree. And you can click on the marinades where you can purchase my marinades.
Some people answered Jocelyn's question and they're saying, LOL, no. Somebody asked,
Hello World said if we were, we would have one, I think. So Hello World thinks that if we were in a simulation, we would have a conscious.
Jesus Riv asked, have you recently watched The Matrix?
No.
What is it?
The Matrix is a movie that is about simulation. I haven't seen it recently. I remember seeing it when I was younger and I didn't understand it when I was a kid because I didn't watch the full thing. But I feel like I did want to watch it, so I'm going to watch it again.
You know, in the beginning of the podcast when I did this, that was the whole purpose. I was going to tell you can edit it, so when you do that, it'll be like a flash. And then it starts into the podcast. little touch.
Have you watched it recently?
No.
Or like
I don't think I watched it at all.
At all? Yeah.
Every now and then, like,
How
I
do you
would
know
come out on, like, Televisa or whatever when my dad was watching
yeah,
movies.
that's what I mean.
And every now and then, like, I'll see, but then I'll just go and leave and do something else.
Yeah.
I never actually sat down and watched the movie.
Colt asked, what did y'all have for dinner?
I haven't. I'm about to have some ribeye tacos.
I had ribeye.
Some avocado.
It was like a lunch.
You know what's fascinating? The fact that we have a whole box of avocados and you didn't
We do?
make guacamole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you mean we have a whole box? Where? We have a box here?
Yeah.
No way. I bought some avocados.
Oh. Anyway.
Why didn't the avocado recipe is supposed to be the one that we ate for the flautas yesterday. Remember I told you?
Yeah, but we didn't have some right now.
H asked us, do you guys live together?
Unfortunately.
Watch it.
Yes. Hello, Texas.
Hi, Texas. I want to live over there. Han Yor asked, why does the Prince of Tacos not give respect to other people's food?
I don't think I disrespect anyone's food. I think if you're a vendor and your stuff isn't good, I owe it to the community, to my community, to be completely honest. You know, that's the thing, like when it comes to the reviews, I don't make a living off of making videos, right? So I think the entire TikTok community or just influencer space when it comes to food, it's very, very biased and they're forced to be nice and respectful because, I mean, their goal is to eventually be able to monetize. And one thing that I'm noticing is when you're honest and you give real feedback, it's taken as a negative, and the platform sanctions you for it. Like oftentimes, every video that I post, when it comes to the reviews, I have to manually accept the comments because they all get filtered. You know, and I'm very big on like free speech. You can say whatever you want. I'm gonna allow it on the platform. But moving forward, I'm definitely going to switch the strategy. And now the comments that get filtered, I'm not going to allow them anymore because it's been stunting our growth. But essentially, like, it's not the fact that I don't have respect for them. It's just, you know, I'm going to be honest on what I think about their food.
And yeah, the whole thing about the information being restricted and comments filtered and all that stuff, I think it is important to remind ourselves that it's okay to have different opinions and open up a debate instead of like always saying like mean things to one another. I don't think Ismail necessarily says mean things. I think he's just saying that's just how he is and he's just saying what he thinks. But I have seen some of the comments and people say things that are not even related to the review or the food.
Cat Mom asked, will you go to a farmer's market to sell marinades?
Probably not. I mean, we haven't really considered that.
Yeah.
And then I think sometimes the reasons why we also stay away from farmer markets is because you have to pay to be there, and so you're not always going to make ends meet from paying. But also, it's like technically we do have a restaurant, and if we want to open it to the public and sell our marinades there, we can do that.
Yeah, we kind of been stepping away from like the day to day, and we're focusing more on the content creation aspect of it and figuring out the platforms. We believe that there's more value in doing this, but I mean, all the traditional routes when it comes to selling a product, I'm open to doing it, but like first I want to explore this avenue. And to your point, farmers market actually they don't really charge. You just have the permits and the insurance that costs money to get. But once you're there, they have like a $1 fee, $2 fee for the booth, but they would get like a percentage of your overall sales, and it's always extremely reasonable. It's like 10% or something like that, which given like the fact that they drive traffic and exposure to your brand, like farmers market from what I've researched has been like a very community driven thing, and it's actually like it helps your business a lot. But the only barrier is getting the permits and the insurance, which is not an issue for us, but like it's something that kind of like will drive us away from what we currently have doing. And I feel like right now we have a lot going on for us to introduce another set of obligations.
That's true. Filming the podcast and then editing it and then having to do
all
the
that
prep,
takes time.
It takes time. And even though like right now the podcast is not necessarily going to bring any income, it's something that we decided to experiment with, and it may or may not work. We don't know. Same thing with TikTok, like my brother mentioned earlier. It's not like a actual main source of income. So at the end of the day, we're giving ourselves the opportunity to try new things that potentially people in our industry are not trying, to eventually see if we could establish something, and if we do, people will be able also to implement it in their profession.
Rudolph said, "Does Ismael have the bigger room?"
Since we live together, do you have the bigger room? I want to say
No.
Lino does.
Lino's room is bigger.
Yeah.
It's because he shares it with mom.
Because she shares it.
We don't talk about that. But I have a bunk bed, so.
I love barbecue.
And my room's nicer than both of theirs, so. Honor Yours said, "I respect that I'm not in LA, but I want to try your tacos." Callie W said, "Bought pastor marinade, can't wait to try."
Oh, amazing! Yeah.
Thank you for the gifts and for the barbecue
Yeah.
invitation.
What are they talking to?
This next round of marinades, I was actually so happy that more people ordered the al pastor one, because I feel like that is like truly the unique one.
Cat Mom asked, "Wait, you have or had a restaurant?"
We do have a restaurant. It's the kitchen, and we could technically open it to the public. We have the permission to do so, but we just decide not to at the moment.
Exactly. My brother made my room for like a college dorm. So like I love it.
It is not a
It
college.
is not
dorm,
a
like-
college dorm.
It's better.
You took my hard work and just made it seem like
Yeah.
a shit.
She made it seem like, because the college is simple. Like it's
Yeah.
like the worst mattress, like very white bland walls. Like
The way
no,
I decorated Little's room was.
it's not college.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it looks
Her
cute.
room is cute. It's better than mine.
If you walk into our home, you're gonna be like, "What the heck?
Yeah. and
They
then-
live here?"
Yeah.
And then you go to her room and you're like, "Oh."
There's taste and style in that room.
Oh my.
Except for the
Okay.
flowers.
I said that because of. Don't disrespect my.
I'll talk
flowers
about
like that.
the inspiration of why I fixed up her room, right? When Lila was going off to college, the first thing that she started to complain, she's like, "I want to live in the dorms, this and that. Like, I don't want to live." And I'm like, "Why would you want to do that to yourself? Like, if you move out, you have everything here." But then I walked into her room and I was like, "Oh, I see." And then I'm like, we got to change this. Create an environment that invites her to be happy where she is, right? And that's precisely what I did. We got rid of her bed. I remodeled everything and gave her enough space for her to actually be able to fulfill her studies. Because before, she didn't have it.
Okay, I have a better way of taking back my comment. Think about it. I don't leave my room now. I just, after class, I just want to come back and be in my desk here at home. Edgar Marcel's asks, where you get the flat top to put over the stove?
That flat top iron grill, whatever, we had it for years. Like, it's older than you, Lito.
Which one?
The one that's at the kitchen. I don't even think they make them like that anymore. But it's like cast iron.
That one?
Oh, no, he would be talking
He's
about
talking
the
one
flat
where
top
he
griddle.
cooks the
Yeah.
meat.
Every time I go to people that make the taco cards, they don't have griddles like that anymore. They make them with a different kind of material. So I'm not sure if you can still get something like that. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, but that thing is actually kind of heavy.
Andy Perez 4314 asks, where do you get your meats?
It depends, but I mean, right now we're still supplying from Restaurant Depot. Like, we get flat meat, we get boneless chicken leg, and pork. On Sunday, we're actually catering a party of birria. We're always gonna do tacos because that's what we specialize in. And I'm always open to working with any kind of meat. But usually here in the States, the 4 popular ones have been chicken, steak, al pastor, and carnitas. People don't normally request others. And when they do, just like what we end up charging, they don't end up adding it. For example, one of the ones that they request a lot is lengua or tripas. But those are not only expensive, but they shrink in size. So you buy 30 pounds of tripas, when you actually cook them, and a lot of people like tripas for them to be extra crispy. So 30 pounds can very well turn into anywhere from 5 to 10, right? And so that poses issues because, I mean, cooking 30 pounds of meat is very, very spacious, right? So you're going to have to do multiple batches, you buy multiple boxes, even if you're just catering for like a party of 50 people. And same thing with lenguas. Lenguas are very expensive. And if you just buy one lengua, it's not going to be enough because as soon as people start seeing that you have lengua, they're going to order a lot of it. So if you provide a minimum of like 10 pounds of lengua, it ends up being expensive. And oftentimes people don't really see it that way. They just see, a $200-$300 charge and they're like, oh no, we don't want that.